Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Incognito. This is episode 3 for the Alumni Connect event, and I am again your host, Liam Mendoza, back at it again with my fellow host, Kelly Rabe.
Yes, naman, Liam. Hello, and it is very nice to see you again, guys. And we are back here again in Incognito. Wow naman, di ba? Episode 3 na tayo. As of this moment, I am very excited to have more episodes in this podcast. By the way, I'm Kaylee, and welcome to the third episode of Incognito.
Last week, we talked about back end development with two alumni who are halfway across the world in the Americas. This week, we're coming back to somewhere close to home with an alumni who's also currently my professor in my subject, Sir Christian Bandoquillo, to discuss this week's topic, business values.
Yes, hello there, Sir Christian. It is very nice to have you here in Incognito. Me and Liam are actually very excited to talk about business stuffs with you. But before that, sir, how are you today?
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Wow, that's great, great. It's like I am so excited to be talking about business values with you, sir. Like what goes on in a business and whatnot and so forth. We have so much to ask you, and we are so thankful that you can join us today. So, sir, just like a little bit of an icebreaker, how long has it been since you graduated?
It's been more than 4 years already since I graduated
Oh.
college.
More than 4
I
years now.
graduated in 2017. 2017.
It's quite,
Oh.
ano pa no? How will you say this? Like, bago pa pero hindi na masyadong bago. Alam mo niyo?
I mean, 4 years is still pretty fresh, just saying.
Yeah, when it comes to like in the industry, I think 4 years is quite kind of new, but you had a lot of experience already inside of that 4 years.
So the 4 years really came very, very fast. I didn't expect it to be this fast. Yeah.
Mhm.
So compared to when you're still in college, in my case, compared to when I'm still in college, 4 years very, very, very slow compared to the 4 years after college. So a lot of things has happened already, and I feel blessed about the 4 years that I had after college.
I mean, I agree with time feeling so fast. I mean, it's like almost last week. I felt like I was a first year in like a face-to-face scenario.
Oh man. Well,
Good thing you had an experience in that face-to-face scenario.
Oh man, speaking of face-to-face, I miss face-to-face classes. But anyways, speaking about the topic today, let's begin somewhere in the beginning of your industry experience or business experience. So, sir, how did you start the business part of you? Like, how did you work it out?
My business part. So I started just being a student. So not really a full blown business, but just in every sense, there's always a demand for books, right? There's a lot of books. I don't know if you can relate about this. Like for example, if someone wants to buy tea books, video books, etc. So I try to buy buy and sell some books, and in that first pick up my interest on business, and then as years go by, so I gained some skills in development mainly. So I got my first client about a month before graduation. So in that case, I really don't know uh, a damn thing about that type of technology. So it's you can feel scared, you can be afraid, like you be skeptic. So what if hindi ko ma-deliver ito? Ganyan. So yeah, so I took it, and good thing that na-deliver ko naman, and it will go. It goes on until now. So like make websites, make systems. So that's mainly my livelihood aside from teaching. Yeah. And yeah, a lot has happened with that. And aside from that, like with my father, so he has his own business too. So I try to help him as much as I could. So yeah, I think doon ako nagsimula talaga.
I see. No.
Oh, oh, sorry.
When I was
Yes,
starting,
Liam.
sige, you go first.
It's like it's like interesting to hear like families like CS people who comes like from families that have like active businesses. Like
Mm.
like recently I came into contact with like another alumni who like runs a sweet shop, like pies and cakes. And it's like interesting to know, it's like for me, since CS people create systems and designs, it's like, hey, we can like literally help these like businesses and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah. So I just remembered. I started receiving just 5,000 pesos for IPOS system, inventory system rather.
Ooh.
5K. Ganyan global. And when you're still starting, so they tend to ask you, you have a portfolio, so they might be skeptic. Can you really do this? Or baka papracticean mo lang ito. So that's yeah. Because me, I didn't really start from being that IT guy that usually works in a company. So it didn't start that way. So I immediately started with the academy. I'm just a part-timer. So part-timer ako. So my load every sem is not guaranteed. So yeah. So there was a time I can't forget this. So I was just earning about 2,000 per month on my payroll. So when in my case, so when I graduate, so I think I don't want to like ask for my stuff from my parents. Like I want to be independent. Though they can provide, but ayoko na, for example, syempre may mga gusto tayong bilhin.
Yeah.
May gusto tayong bilhin, but like you can now have your own livelihood, but why would you still ask from them? So like even it's low ball project, so sige lang, I accept that one. And aside from that, nag-aral na rin ako masters sa university, and that's another gamble because it's very time consuming siya. Kasi every week we have a class every Friday and Saturday. So Fridays it's 6 to 9 p.m. and Saturdays it's 8 to 5 p.m. Then you need to study, you need to do some activities or projects. There was a time that I have no weekends. So that's why simula ko wala. Literally no weekends. No weekends. You work on weekdays. And yeah, there's also a time na I tried working for a company too as a junior dev. Tapos pinagsasabay ko na lahat sa part-time sa school. Then there was a time at Manila sandali, including masters. So yun, grabe. You can't forget that time, really the struggle involved, the gamble that we did. Yeah. So I'm glad that it paid off naman. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one tip. So really gotta sacrifice. So it doesn't come easy right away after graduation. Though some may find themselves easier. There may be some that could have a head start. But there is some too that they could be clueless, or kung kunyari, tanongin mo, anong balak mo after graduation, usually the answer, wala. So, wala. Oh, totoo yan.
Oh, man.
Wala.
That's how I feel.
Or there's some people to the gusto nilang may gawin, but they don't know how to start. Ayan, some may be, they're introverts, so nahihiya. And so there's a lot of factors involved, but what I can say is that we need to sacrifice, get out of the comfort zone, with hard work and dedication. So yeah, that was how I started.
Oh, sir, very interesting, right, Kelly?
Yeah, I can really relate to what Sir said that ano plano mo sa college? Like right now, I know I'm just second year, but the thought of it, like I don't even know where to go after college or if I will find a job after college. And it's really relatable. And not to mention, Sir just started being a student and took interest in business that way. And seeing a lot back in face to face, Liam, I see a lot of students who's, having a mini business inside school, like nagtitinda ng yema or something,
Mhm.
mga, what
To
you
be
call that?
fair, to be fair, I remember in senior high school, since I was like from Adu senior high school, I can still remember Ate Munchkin who goes like around the classrooms and selling munchkins.
Mhm. And to think that Sir Christian started there, and look at him now with all the sacrifices that he had made.
Oo naman.
Di ba? Who would have known, di ba, Sir Christian, na you'd come this far? I see, because I see you right now as, a successful individual. Ganon.
Tama lang.
Tama lang. Tama lang.
But to be fair, it's really all about the return on investment, right? Like masters, you have like the risks, and you also have the return on investment. It's really about the balance about that. I have a very like genuine question right now, since I don't know the difference between the two. How different is an undergraduate program from like a master's in terms of its like difficulty or like content?
Oh, yeah. Interesting question.
Okay, so when I was starting, so do you have database subjects already, for example? Okay.
Yeah.
Later. Yeah.
Okay, so in college, right, we have database 1 and database 2. Okay. So in masters, all of those topics discussed on 2 semesters are discussed in 1 day.
What?
What?
Wow.
In 1 day.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, how was
It's
it?
more. I think the teacher could be a factor too. The teacher could be a factor. But there's some teachers who are really, really very good. This is the Ateneo grad school program, so they get teachers. For example, Ateneo de Manila. And so one of my professors was Dr. Maguya. So he's from Adu. He's one. I think parang siyang I think he's an assistant. At least natala siya doon. I'm not sure sa CS program. So he's one of the best professors. So grabe magturo because he had like about 20 years of experience in the industry, and after that he's just teaching and did some consultancy. So ang main difference is isa lang dun sa kanya. Kasi yun talaga yung tumatak ka teacher, kasi pag baguhin na teacher mo, mahirap yan. mahirap yung mga requirements niya, mahirap yung mga activities niya. But definitely you learn a lot. So yeah, it's a more fast-paced type. And somewhat, if you still remember your undergrad, there's a review contest, first meeting. So yun yung sinabi ko na parang yung database 2, 1 night lang yan. So from 6 to 9 p.m. discuss na yun lahat. And then there's some additional more complex topics about it. So yeah, I think that's one of the main differences.
Well, to think that weekends lang yung classes niyo, sir, no? And then all of those information in like few hours. So it's really hard.
Like a serious information overload.
Yeah,
that's true. Meron yung dati na start. So there was a class. The doc pa rin. We started having our quiz at about 8:30 p.m. So quiz kami. And then after that, this long lectures morning until afternoon. And then sinusulit talaga yung oras niyan. And then possible that there could be some group activities. And kasi klase ko sa kanya is software engineering and computer organization. So yeah. So parang naisip ko na what we had ng college is just like the tip of the iceberg ng pala. So there's more aside from that. grabe information overload. And then after that, um, drain ka na pag-uwi, ganyan. So there was a time dati na lecture siya buong gabi. So sunusulit talaga yan, 6 to 9 p.m. And then kinabukasan exam. And knowing na yun, I have other jobs, ganyan. So you need to study when you get home. Hindi ang nakakainis doon kasi yun yung time na nagla-landslide yung diversion road. So it causes a lot of traffic. And then ako sa Malayo, ako nakatira. So the usual 1 hour of travel, it goes up to 2 hours and 30 minutes. Na ganyan. Tapos meron pang time na yung pinabaha, ganyan. So hindi pa ka-uwi sa bahay. So exam kinabukasan.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So, you learn a lot. So that's also an added credential. So Sir Crom, you don't know if you know Sir Crom. So Sir Crom is one of the professors in ALU that convinced me to take up masters. So what I thought back then is that, senior high schools, they have their K-12. So there's also a lot of people who are into the industry, especially ngayon it's pandemic, maraming nawala ng trabaho and they might switch up to web development because madali lang magawa ng freelance projects eh. And so in my sa isip lang, so how could I separate myself to other people? So ano yung kunyari nausap ka ng interview or HR, so ano na magiging edge mo kumpara sa iba, yung ganyan. So that's one of the reasons I took up. So nag-invest na ako ng time, energy, and yeah. So that's what you need to consider too. And so how would you separate yourself from others? And so why would they choose you instead of them? And so that's why it's important to invest in yourself, build yourself. What do you think you can improve more? Kung saan ka mahina? What do you do best? You should have that one.
Grabe, you have a lot of sir, motivation maybe, or the drive to do something. Because imagine that classes sa weekends and then part-time job and then something to do in the weekdays. So it's really not a joke. Not to invalidate what we feel in college na it's hard, but what you've also experienced, or maybe other individuals who are currently taking MIT or other masters, it must be harder, or it is really hard for them to manage it. But by the way, sir, I want to open a topic about business values. So, sir, what is business values for you?
So business values, so these things define what your business is. Okay. So I've listed down some values here in my notes. So you need to have some business growth. So you need some customer service. It's really important. Customer service is important. So if wala yan, you need to have that one para pumalik pa yung mga customers mo sa'yo. How your leadership, how you do your teamwork, how do you improve your business basically? So how can you, let's say, this analogy, for example, yung regular yan mo na burger, so let's say that's your business, how would you elevate that burger to be a greater one? Kasi maging red corner, parang ganyan. So what's important, the financials involved. So this financials involved in the business. So how would you handle it properly? What gambles or risks are you willing to take? And then, so yun. I think that's it. Kasi in business, what I learned the most over the years is how you really handle people. That's the number one thing. So if you can't handle people properly, you marunong makisama, there's a good chance that things may not work out despite having a lot of money. Yeah, so it's useless if there's no one who's gonna be on your side. And so I think a lot of people are having difficulty to yung meron silang tauhan or employee or just someone from the organization that would really defend defend them. Whatever happens, they'll choose you. Yun, sana all. Yan sa mga nahihirapan din kasi maraming takot na mag-hire kasi baka hindi mabuting matrabaho or umalis ka agad, ganyan. So so that's really that's one of the challenges involved in the business.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I tried researching about business values beforehand, and then all that came up was words such as integrity, boldness,
the usual
honesty.
Values.
It's why does this remind me so much about 5 C's? Compassionate, Christ-centered.
Can be formator now.
Wait, it's 6 C's now. They added a C. It's what's up with these ones? It's why is short? It's stuff. So it's hearing about how you interpreted business values and how I saw business values. There was a bit of a discrepancy. So I came in with a different thought, and right now we're discussing about another thought. So sorry. You go ahead, Kelly.
About what you said, Liam, about what you've searched, the integrity and something. I think it's also in what Sir Christian said, but it's more like Sir Christian explained it. Sir Christian explained it that way.
The things that you will find online are so general that they just give you one words.
Well, if you search values online, that's what will also come up.
Right? I encountered just post the other day. It's a post that defines what are the business values or business ethics of millennials versus before the other generations. So, sir, this one's a real thinker. So this post was talking about how the millennial generations don't really stay within their hours. They come in at 8, they leave at 4 sharp. They don't stay, they don't be early or that. And let's say I think it was a boomer. The boomer was I have no idea how to describe. Was why are millennials like this? Are they not dedicated to the work? But as a younger generation, I could see the point. The millennial, you keep within your hours. So, I guess my question is, how would you see about the business ethics of the millennial in the story?
I can relate so much with that. I can relate so much. This time is very good because I just made one of my invoices for the company I work for. So, it's usually 40 hours a week, right? So it's 4, 8, 12. So it's 160 hours a month. That's what they expect from you. And from my report, it showed that in that month I only worked for about 25 hours in total. So that's in a week. I just work parang tinodo na lahat, mga 4 hours na yung pinakamahaba. But usually just a few minutes, a few hours, 1 hour. So, coming from the perspective of millennial, na pagdaan ko rin yan. So, sa pag-arrive ako office ng 12, uwi ako 4. So, as long as you meet the task involved, I think there won't be any problem. And if there's a meeting and you're there won't be any problem. So, because for me, there's always life outside from work. So, what's the sense of coming from the perspective of the boomer? So, andun siya from 8 to 5, and then walang ginagawa. So, you're using company's resources, energy, computer, yan. So, and then we're just doing nothing, or what if yung may ginagawa man, it takes a lot of time. So for me, in my case, if you can do it efficiently, and tama naman yung ginawa mo, there's no mistakes, and hindi ka lang rin yung pabaya sa tasks mo, then you can finish it in maybe less amount of time, then it's better. So reward mo na yung kumbaga na yung time na hindi mo nagamit. So what's the sense of working again and again if you're done with it? Diba? So I just remember this one motto na, if the code is working, do not touch it.
Oh man. I can relate.
Yun lang naman. So yun, I can relate so much to millennial talaga. So, magtataka na lang tong girlfriend ko, bakit parang wala kang tinatrabaho? Mag-IT na lang kaya ako. kasi pansin na niya, parang wala lang, let's check it weeks lang. Ayun, if ang crucial thing nito is you should also know how to manage your time management. So it's better if you try to practice that one as early as yung student ka pa. Because if you could manage your time, then you can basically do anything. You can also, mahirap kasi if you really focus on just studying, like in your case, study lang palagi, go activities. And for example, pag-graduate, mag-work lang palagi, then pagka-uwi, pagod rin yung ganyan, parang cycle na siya. And then hindi mo na nagagawa yung mga gusto mo. Like, there's other things, I know that there are other things that you wanna do aside from work, yung mga hobby mo. So, it could cause you burnout. Yeah. So, I've been there. So, nakatry ako mag-burnout dati kasi yun nga, imagine the no weekends. So, nangyari doon, nag-resign ako sa work ko. Nagtaka sila, bakit ka nag-resign? Gusto ka namin maging TL, hindi natin winner. Pagod na, hindi ko lang sinabing pagod na ako, ganyan. Sabi ko lang na parang may family problem, ganyan. So, ang nangyari doon, so, yung best friend ko, umalis din. So, sabay kami. Nauna lang ako. So, 3 months of rest na walang ginawa. Maglaro lang araw-araw. Ganyan.
Oh, so, man.
Yeah. Really needed that break. So, grabe. Yun nga. So, time management is really important para, it's for your mental health din eh. Ganyan. So, at this point, you have your classes this way. So, siyempre, mabawasan yung time mo mag-travel every day. Ganyan. So, ayun nga, mas maganda if na-practice siya as early as now because when you're done with school, maraming ibig sabihin na you just work, then go home, then you're done. So, time will come, you'll have your families, you have children. So, di mo pwedeng sabihin na, mamaya muna kayo kasi may gagawin pa ako. Ganyan. Mamaya ka na asawa ka, mga ganyan.
Mamaya ka na asawa.
So, siyempre, priority mo sila. Hindi mo pagpapalit yung trabaho mo. Kaya paminsan, may parang nasirang pamilya kasi like, hindi na nabibigyan ng oras. Ganyan. So, so that's just main thoughts. You need to know how to manage your time because work in school is not always everything about life. So, there's more about it. So,
very true, sir. Very true. So, sir, just like a question. Since time management is really key and it's like one of the things that we have to also learn in school because like in school at least we have a schedule, like a preset schedule. But after graduation, we won't have that schedule.
Yeah. So make your own schedule.
Yeah. However, there are like some certain situations where it arises that you just have like so many responsibilities happening all at once. So how would
Hello, Liam?
you deal with like what is essentially the crunch time?
And you say it again. So,
Yeah.
you repeat the question.
Oh no, my internet. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
Marinig ka,
Again,
marinig ka.
Hello?
Mm.
There we go. The internet is quite unstable right now. I do not know why. So basically, in regards to time management, and second important value for school, like beyond school as well, how do you deal with the crunch period, the crunch time, where you just like you feel like you want to like split yourself into two so that one person can do this thing, another person can do that.
Okay. So, just like to tell you, like at the moment, I have 3 jobs. Okay, I have 3 jobs. So, so there's always that time na from my college time talaga. If there's some deadlines, and so whenever I go, I decide why I chose those 3 jobs. So when you say kasi pag iniisip ko yun, 3 jobs, ganyan. So, paano yung oras niya, ganyan. So, before I decide taking those, so I try to anticipate everything. So, will this, for example, priority ko kasi Ateneo. So, will Ado be affected if I get this? If I get another one, will things be affected? So, what about the time? Ayan. Because in school, di ba, may mga class hours tayo. Ayan. So, how can I give time with it? And then, aside from that, there also are meron tayong mga personal lives. So, I make sure to also give time to that. And we only have 24 hours a day. So, like for example, when there's some deadlines, mga ganyan. So, I make sure that I give time allowance for each every day. Yan. And then if there's usually kasi natatapos ko yung task din kagad, but syempre with some deadlines, meron talagang yung addict mode ka talaga na for the next 2 weeks ito lang yung i-work ko, ganyan. So I usually do things ahead talaga. I do things ahead if I think that I can do it earlier than expected, hindi ko na sisintayin. Kasi what if may mga unforeseen scenarios like may pinagawang malaki then parang crush siya. So at least I can wala nang gagawin sa iba. So I can focus all my time on that without affecting everything in my life. So like I can still have my personal life, can play, again, can go out, something like that. So yeah. So the important thing here is you really need to anticipate, and then wag ka lang padalos-dalos sa decisions. Okay, so you need to anticipate every scenario kahit na parang magiging overthinker ka na, at least na nakita mo na siya ahead of time. Kasi, like for example, I can feel like meron kayong mga assignments na nagsumasabay tapos parang 3 sa isang araw. Yeah, I've been there before. Pagdaan ko rin yan. So, estudyante ako. And then, meron pa yung mga extracurricular activities, yung CSEC, ganyan. Tapos dati, I've been a varsity player sa ADO. So, meron kami mga tournaments, mga practices. So, maraming jump-packed schedule. So, as a student, ginagawa ko dati, kada bawat may free time, sinusulit ko na yan yung paggawa ng mga activities. Kahit even if you get mga 15 minutes, even the smallest things will really help you. So, hindi mo siya kailangan gawin na for the next 4 hours, ito lang gagawin ko. So, pwede kahit mga 10 minutes, 20 minutes. And then, pag ipapile up yung mga small time na yan, kung ibubuo mo yan, marami na rin yan. So, yeah. So if you don't have much to do, you need to set your priorities. Then you need to set your priorities. So that's one important thing. If you don't know what your priority is, chances are na may pababayaan talaga. So you need to know that as a student, your priority is to be able to pass this subject, to be able to graduate. And and aside from that, you can still learn a lot of things. So you need to maximize your time because we're given 24 hours a day. So yeah, you just need to maximize your time. You need to learn. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes talaga, hindi talaga may iwasan. You need to gamble something. So there's always risk involved. So there's also one way. What risk are you going to take? Parang mga ganyan. Kasi meron din dati, like for example, would you not attend this class just because you need to do this activity? Parang mga ganyan. Though I don't encourage that one.
Oh.
There's always that kind of scenario kahit na pagka gamit mo na. So, alin yung uunahin ko sa kanila. So, i-check mo kung kunyari may hindi ka magawa sa iba, maiipit pa ako doon. Ganyan. You just need to learn how to weigh things too. Pag yung you're in the corner already. Kaya parang nagsasabay-sabay sa lahat. So which one has the later deadline? Which one has the lesser tasks? Yung lesser complexity. Ganyan. So I tend to usually do the easy ones first compared to the more difficult ones. Kasi pwedeng mga madali. Tapos may kaagad. Yun yung confident. When yung mga more complex. So yun talaga. It goes on to how you manage your time and how you have the contingency plan in case you have a scenario. So yeah, you need to anticipate everything before you go into some.
True. It actually reminds me of that one meme. I think if you guys are familiar with Shen comics, like that small webtoon where there was he's holding there's a schedule block. Let's say sleep, work block, and then he goes I can't fit this into my schedule, and then he has a small realization where he just slowly reaches for the sleep block, and then he says, "Or can I?"
Yeah, that's true. Can I play or just sleep? there's some days that it is like that. So imagine coming to work at 8 a.m. and then you come home at around 9 to 10. So and then you need to sleep and you need to wake up early. So bahala na late matulog basta ako nagawa ko gusto ko.
Oh man, I kind of feel that too because right now I ghosted my academic responsibilities for quite a long time and there's a lot of coding to do. Let's just say that I'm in my crunch time right now. And there's always that one thought na should I code or should I play?
Mood, very mood can.
I can really relate to that up until now. Yeah, I can relate to that until now. So, for example, there's a task. So, the task is about 1 month in deadline. Uy, 1 month.
Oh, yes.
Bahala. What ang ginagawa ko usually from first 2 weeks, magpakasasa tayo dito. Then, in the next 2 weeks, then parang first parts niya medyo halo-halo pa yung laro. And you need some time to adjust.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I deserve this break. Wow.
Yeah.
It's the modern Shakespeare. To play or not to play.
Yeah.
Yes.
You come into the zone into coding. So, parang kasi sa simula yan, parang pinataya ko yung utak. It's still rusty pa. And then, let's say after 1 week, okay na yan in the zone yan. So, parang diretso na yan talaga.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just about how you procrastinate moderately.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Wag naman yung a few days na lang doon mo pagagawin. Naku, napaka-late na oras na yan.
Procrastination in moderation.
Yes, I can totally relate to that. Well, I can see that these people, right? I can see that you guys can relate to my experience as well. I found my people. But anyways, sir, I have this one thought. Since we're talking about business values, I'm seeing a lot of businesses online that are, started by teenagers. Like, for example, clothing lines, lip tints, and something like that. So And it is really a saturated market that there's a lot of people that are doing that already, especially in teenagers. I just want to ask, what are your thoughts about this?
About about online selling, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's good that people use the technology as avenue to earn. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that for me.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that for me as long as you earn, it feeds you, and doesn't come from bad things, then that's all right. That's all right. So, my thoughts about that. So, sa simula, hindi talaga madali. So I tried doing that too. And it's not easy to really get customers. So, there's some tendency na magchat-chat ka na lang ng mga kakilala. Uy, bili ka naman. Ganyan.
Mhm.
Para maubos na yung stocks mo. So, it's not easy, but kudos to those who really try. And for those that they think that it's not working for them, then just don't stop. Don't stop. Maybe may mali sa method mo.
Mhm.
And you aren't reaching enough people. So nowadays, there's a lot of ways for you to attract a lot of people. So that's one way of that is social media marketing. And then there's one way of mga CRM, you have to integrate that one. So there's some campaigns and leads where you don't have to do everything in yourself. So there's a lot of ways to do that. You can automate some things. Lalo yung mga uso ngayon is yung mga live selling.
Yeah.
Ang dami ngayon na pandemic. So yeah, just don't quit. Just look those who are successful because they've been in your place back then. Wala namang diretso mga kagad. They
Mhm.
need some perseverance,
Exactly.
just some hard work. Kahit paunti-unti lang, yung rolling yung kita mo. And just hard work. You can have your time someday. Just don't give up. There's always the key with that. And yeah.
I see, sir. So yeah, thank you so much for that, sir. And if ever someone is listening there now, my small business, yeah, this is your sign. This is your sign to don't give up on your business if it's not doing good. Just keep going.
True. It's like that one saying where fail does not mean that you are like a complete failure, but rather fail is like an acronym for like first attempt in learning.
Yeah, exactly. You can apply that in all life experiences, not only in business. You can also do that in other situations. Depende.
Very true. Like to be fair, uh uh I like procrastinated in learning Laravel. So right now my software engineering group is like experiencing a crunch. So right now I'm like planning to like basically binge watch through the Laravel tutorials, searching on YouTube. Basically
Yeah.
go so gung ho this week.
Yeah, I do Laravel too. Yeah, I might give you some resources if you want.
Right now, sir, I
Wow.
have like several like videos up
Mm.
and also YouTube.
I
Please send.
subscribe to courses to Udemy. So, I started, ganyan din ako eh. Nag-start na ako mag-Laravel ng mag-graduate. Because I didn't get my chance to have that in my elective in college. So yeah, you have no choice. I have no choice but to learn on my own. Yeah. So as times go by, you need to find ways how to make things more easier. Tapos parang sa simula, parang, ang hirap nito. Ganyan.
It's really on the setup that's like the hardest part. Like once you get the setup done, it's like smooth sailing, sort of.
Sort of.
Yeah, I'll give you some resources. The setup is the easiest part. Yeah. Some may find it difficult. That's true. Some may find it difficult. Yeah. Ganun talaga eh. Sa simula talaga mahirap. But once you're doing it again and again, And one important thing in life is also to find your mentor. Find your mentor. Not necessarily programming mentor, but life mentor. So is there someone you can talk to about anything? You can get some advices or wisdom. That's important. Parang meron ka lang role model on how you want to be someday. Yeah, if you have your backs against the wall, how would you take action on that? Yeah, so that's also important. So you need to also listen to other people, to learn. Yeah,
Mhm.
True,
can
sir.
also add up some value to you. So yeah, that's also important because the skills, because of Laravel, so it may become obsolete after many years. It may become also. So meron na namang bagong lalabas dyan. So yeah, that's it. You know.
I mean, yeah, true, sir. It's like, to be fair, I also have a motivation other than learning. I realized that I could probably monetize on it, like through freelancing as like a student. Got
Yeah.
True, true,
like,
true.
like as like a student, like just to bring up like a point said earlier is like where we want to like be financially independent, where we don't want to like
Mm,
ask our parents for
true.
stuff. I mean, it's like
Mm,
it's kind of like how would I say this? It's kind of like hard to ask for like financial stuff from the parents, right? So
mm,
it's
Mhm.
like, how should I become financially independent myself, right? So, since we discussed like Laravel like, stuff, sir, what do you think are skills that we should probably learn to like at least become like as like a student freelancer or to like start essentially somewhere like earning money?
okay. So the first skill, this is the most important one, is that you should be willing to learn because it never stops. Okay, it never stops. So now to the technical part. So you need to assess yourself. So are you a front end developer or a
Mhm.
back end developer? Or can you do both? Can you become full stack? Because there's other people who can do full stack. So for front end, basically you need to learn the basics. But in my case, web development. So yun talaga yung boom ngayon talaga, web development. So what you need is first you need to know the basics of HTML, CSS, JS, JavaScript, and then importantly, you should have knowledge about web frameworks. So for front end, then you can use AngularJS, Vue.js, React. Pero sa mga napansin ko ngayon sa mga job boards, required na talaga na may knowledge ka ng frameworks. Required na. And for backend, you can have Laravel, .NET, etc. They require you to have one. So it's have one kung meron front-end, backend, and better if dalawa. So aside from that, you need to learn how to do REST APIs. So, yan. So REST APIs. So how to code up APIs into your controllers. For example, in Laravel,
Mhm.
pero meron kasing iba na meron silang custom APIs and you have to make your program communicate with that. So that's also vital with it. And aside from that, you need to you need to learn how to talk to when you're in your interviews. That's how you need to be confident. I just like to share this. Meron akong boss dati. So, he's not freelancing na.
Mhm.
Ano siya, parang nasa Manila branch. So he graduated nursing. But his job is he is a senior network engineer. So ang nangyari lang, puro YouTube lang. No degree. Just all
Mhm.
YouTube and learning and experience. Kaya yun yung
Wow.
number one. Kaya ni number one ko yung learning talaga. So your degree doesn't define what can be in our industry. It's all about who you are, who you value, what are your values, and how do you really want this one? How do you really want this? how do you really want to buy that PS5 that you want? For example, you need you need hard work. That not applies in the IT industry only. It also applies in everything else. So how much hard work are you willing to do? How much time are you willing to use to be able to achieve what you wanna achieve in life? So yeah. So where was I? No, yun. So yan. So for freelancing, usually kasi yun naman talaga. I've had freelancing jobs before, yung mga sa websites, mga Upwork, ano pa, online jobs PH. And tama pala, though maraming ina-underestimate ito. WordPress. Ano lang yan, drag and drop lang yan. Tapos, pero malaki kita niya WordPress, malaki. So, yan yung isang work of WordPress. Tapos, I'm using this customized theme builder. So, siya, yung literal na drag and drop talaga. But it could help if you know some HTML, CSS, or JavaScript kasi parang madali lang. Hindi siya ganun ka-stressful compared if you hard code everything. So, kailangan mo lang kadalasan those plugins and then the designs, ano yung wireframe na gusto ng client, ganyan. So, yun yung mga boom talaga for development in WordPress. And then, if you're not into development, then there's some other jobs too. You can be graphic designers, assistants. Just have some portfolio that would really help my mga previous works even though you're doing it for fun, but as long as you can showcase your skills on that, then that could give a plus to the client. Kasi tama, may share ulit ako. Meron akong classmate sa masters na nag-stop siya ng school. Nag-stop siya din. So, hindi pa siya patapos ngayon. So, nangyari, call center agent siya for years. Ayan. And then though IT ang degree niya, but he doesn't know programming. So, nag-dive in siya into Python. Ganyan. So, nag-learn siya. Even accepted low-paying jobs para lang for the experience. And right now, he is currently earning about 100 to 150 a month.
Wow.
A year. And then, just a year, just learning Python. Mga sinabi ko kanina. Back-end frameworks, APIs. And that could really help.
I see, sir. So, I don't know. It's really exciting, and it's really interesting what you said, sir, about your boss na nagtingin lang ng YouTube and he's already the boss now. Like, wow. So, we can really see that IT is not just, something na, IT now because I graduated in this field. You can actually dive into the industry if you just had the willpower to actually do it, and you'll actually do it. You'll be successful. And also, sir, any bits of advice like for those individuals who want to dive into business that has literally no idea and wala silang alam kung saan mag-start, what advice would you give to them?
Okay, so what I can advise is that you need to know what you really, really want. Okay, what you really want. What's your passion? So that's the first thing. Because when you buy what you are selling to other people, if you won't buy it, then why should you sell? That's the first thing. And then let's say they already have one, but they don't know what's next. So there's a lot of resources online. So maraming resources online. There's some online e-learning. So don't rush everything. Just wag natin madaliin lahat. Parang step tayo. So we don't want to be reckless because we're talking about money here, and money isn't
Yes.
really easy to earn. Malaking investment din yan. And
Mhm.
how will we get the ROI? How long? So I think that you can do your own feasibility study on your own. You just basically plan things out. So one thing is also to look at someone who has been successful with it, and then
Mhm.
what mistakes have they done in the past? Yung
Mhm.
mga ganyan. What are the things that made them successful? You can
Mhm.
also talk to those who are already successful with it, and
Mhm.
those things really help them. And then what is important is really a mentor. Kung may nakakausap sila, you can,
Mhm.
that has already done it before, then that would really help.
I see, sir. So yes, sir. Thank you so much for the advice for those people who are, confused where to start. And also, since we have already reached our, dedicated time for this podcast, that was the last question. And also, thank you so much, sir, for being here, for being one of our podcast guests. Me and Liam are very happy. CSEC is really grateful for you to share your experiences and also your learnings to us.
Wow, has it really been an hour? Really?
Yes, it is already
Wow.
an hour.
I
Grabe,
mean,
ang daming pinag-usapan, no? Like, if you're one of the hosts or maybe one of the guests, you don't notice the time. It's
right?
mhm,
It's like all that's left in this like situation is like we just like need some like chips and some drinks.
mhm.
If this was like face to face, in all fairness,
Yeah.
we would definitely be having like free food sponsored by CSEC, maybe.
Baka naman, na joke lang. But
Baka naman,
anyways,
mabubi.
anyways, again and again and again, sir, thank you so much for today. And yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Liam and sir, for your time today. And also for everyone, we are uh, catering questions on Twitter. So we can ask that to the next podcast guest. And you just use the hashtag AskIncognito and we will feature it in our future episodes.
Make sure to tell everyone also that the show is available to listen for free on Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. To keep up with Incognito, make sure to follow us at Twitter using at @adu_CS. As always, let us explore the incognito together.
Yes,
Bye,
thank you so
guys.
much. Thank you so much, sir.
Indeed. Thanks for having me.